Good morning. Welcome to our call. I'm just going to see. We should. I'm just checking one thing here. What I would love to hear as I am checking something here, there we go, is what was your day like yesterday? Did your day feel different from being on this call? For those of you that are my clients, maybe for you, what have you noticed has changed in your day from making this a part of your routine, a habit for yourself? I would love to know. Oh, Tina said yesterday was amazing. She had a big aha. I was so happy, Tina. That's the thing. It's like it can really shift things so quickly. Erica says, my day was amazing. I kept coming back to I am the essential. I love starting my day with you, Hina. Thank you, Erica. I love starting my day with you too. Sophia says it flowed much better. Yes, and the reason that is, it's not an accident. The reason that it's going to flow much better is because you are intentional. You're starting your day intentional. And then yesterday, you wrote your goal down. Elisa says, yesterday helped me realize what my next goal is. I've been searching for what I want next, and the call helped me clarify that. That's so beautiful. I loved reading everybody's goals for those of you that wrote it down. And for those of you that, if this is your first call, let us know as well. If you weren't on yesterday's call, and you can please still participate. The participation, first and foremost, is for you. It's for you to receive the most that you can from the experience. I just let Anna Isabel in. I have to say hi when she's all set up. Kim says, amazing. I felt clarity and excitement all day. I was filled with ideas and momentum. I felt lighter and more energetic. So why is that? Why is that coming on a call for an hour has shifted the way that you feel and the way that your day unfolds? This is not accident. This is not, oh, it was just a lucky day, or Hannah's call that day happened to be a good one. I promise you, they're all really, really good ones. The reason that that happened, and that because your day unfolds, everything unfolds from our consciousness. And in the morning, or during the time that you spent with us, you expanded your consciousness and you were clear, and there were concepts that you were connecting to, and also thinking about your goal and what your desire is. Well, that's going to clarify things for you really quickly and clarify your priorities for the day. Because what happens is that becomes the filtering system. So when things outside of you are vying for your attention, you've now got a filtering system to see if it warrants your attention, if you're going to go there or not. Whereas before, we would just go to where we are conditioned to go. Can I say that again? We're just going to go where we're conditioned to go. Actually, that reminds me of something that I want to say. Let me just also say a few other things here. We had a question come in, so I'm going to answer that in a little bit. I didn't see any questions in the Facebook group. You can always ask any questions in the chat, and also just know you're going to hear exactly what you need to hear. This is Louisa's first call. Welcome, Louisa. And I also want to say a big hello to Anna Isabel. It's so good to have you here. Mitzi also says, my day was long and productive with lots of opportunities to get to my goal. I was more aware. Oops, it just, sometimes the chat moves on me. I was more aware of being essential. Yes. Beautiful. And this is Melissa's first call too. Okay, great. Okay. So I just want to go back to what I was talking about with the idea of how this is pouring out of you, like your day is moving out of your consciousness, and so you're setting yourself up And this is what happened yesterday. And you had a full experience of it. And for those of you that this is your first call, you will um, also feel this today. So why is that? Because when we start our mornings intentionally and we are clear about our goals, we are the essential. This is what we talked about yesterday. And anybody that missed yesterday's call, you have access to the replay. And I really invite you to watch that, listen to it. So we are the essential when we are setting up our days from the place of what do we desire? What do we want? And we have clarity on that. The feelings that proceed out of the subconscious, this is the motivating forces of our lives. The feelings that pour out of the subconscious. So when you wrote down your goal, when you wrote it here in the chat and you wrote it in the success circle, how did that feel? I feel like I picked up on the feelings from it because I was smiling. I had such a huge grin on my face when I was reading it. So Jen says empowering. Beautiful. I love that, Jen. Erica says it felt powerful to share in this community. Yes, like you've put it out there. Susan says it felt possible. So now think about that. That's the feeling that's attached to what? To your desire, to what you truly want. Yes, Kim says it's like the clouds parted, the clarity that you received. So your feelings that proceed out of that, that's your motivating force, right? So now think about your day. Now, sometimes, in all honesty, when we're starting this work, we can hold on to that feeling to, I don't know, for an hour later. But over time, this is how you condition yourself that that actually becomes your normal state. Can you hear me? It becomes your normal state. And that's how you operate. And in fact, and my clients on this call will tell you, in fact, it does not feel good when you fall off of your new normal. First of all, there's so many beautiful things about this. When you fall off of your new normal, the first thing to realize is how beautiful it is to know that you have fallen off, because that state that you have fallen to used to be your normal. But you cannot stay there long. It would be like trying to put on a shoe that you wore when you were a toddler. It simply does not fit and it does not feel good. And you're going to do what you can to move yourself out of it. And the first way that we move ourselves out of it is to really remember who we are. Again, remember our divinity so that we can claim our destiny. And sometimes it requires a nap. Who is kidding who? Oh, Kim and Jen know each other. Love that. Okay. So we do certain things or we do not do certain things because we are so impelled or restrained by the subconscious. And if we desire one thing consciously and its opposite keeps appearing in our lives, it is because our conscious desire has not conformed to our subconscious desire. Now, this is what the anonymous question was about yesterday was I desire this thing, but the opposite is showing up. So I want to explain this to you because there's a distinction here. So the opposite, when you create something, and you get very, very clear on it, often what will seem like obstacles will show up. But that is not to say that there is a problem or anything like that. It's actually very similar to this piece here. It's It is a part of the process because anything that is not a match is going to show up. And it's an opportunity to fine tune your positioning, to fine tune your positioning. So, Erica, Tina, gosh, Kelly, I loved the name of your new program. Chanel, all of you that had put your goals in the Facebook group. What happens is when we announce that this is something that we truly desire, don't be surprised if fear is on the back of that so quickly or on the heels of it so quickly. And this is where we've got to understand ourselves. We must have self-understanding and faith based on understanding, because you understand that this is actually part of the process. It is part of the process. It does not mean that you are to abandon your goals, but 99% of people will take it to mean that because it becomes their out. And so what we're doing, what we want to do is build the desire that's bigger than the doubt. So you don't have an out. We want to build a desire that's bigger than the doubt. But that's not going to happen just once. This is repeatedly adding to the fire, that burning desire. I'm assuming everybody can hear me, but we have a friend, Ritu, who cannot hear anything. So if somebody could just put in the chat that you're hearing, our friend may have to come back again. Thank you. So it's this fear-created image in the subconscious that holds us back. And it is protecting us from the danger that we fear. And can you imagine that the danger that we fear, the danger, which is so interesting, is being successful, is having what we desire. Yesterday, what happens is in the first month of these calls, you're on the call, and in the second month, we have a group call. And if you were not on that call, let us know so that you can come to the next one. Well, I think we also know who wasn't on it, because sometimes your schedule may not allow. But in the second month, we have a small group call, and we did that yesterday, and it was so powerful. And what we talked about was this idea of having, and how the fears that come up around being successful, around having what it is that you desire to have. So the fear created image in the subconscious holds us back, and that fear image is not something that was created when you decided the goal and now it's coming up. It was always there. Can you hear that? It was always there. Come on. People think that it is people think that because they're aware of the fear for the first time, that, oh my gosh, the fear is coming up. Like, this fear is coming up because of this goal. No, you're only becoming aware of the fear because of the goal. Come on, that's so good. I've never said it before like that. So the fear was always there. You're only aware of the fear because of your desire, because of your goal, because of what you've decided, what you've claimed, what you're demanding. That's the beautiful thing of the goal, is that it gives you an opportunity to demand something for the infinite supply to flow to, because the supply is infinite. And your demand is the attracting force to draw it to you and through you. So what we want to do then is create a new image. We want to build this image of what it is that you desire, of what you wrote, Chanel, of what you wrote, Erica, of what you wrote, Tina, of what you wrote, Kelly. We want to build that image so it's bigger than the fear. Now, here's the thing. Oh, the external world must catch up. So for the first while, you're going to be holding this. And where does growth happen? It happens in the dark, and you're not going to see anything outside you change. And this is when you must remain the essential. You've got to remain the essential because you're not seeing anything change outside of you. Sales haven't changed. Your revenue hasn't changed. You're still with the person, that hasn't changed. Or you don't see the person yet, that hasn't changed. But you must act as if it has. You must believe as if it has. You must be as if it has. And then it will. Renee just put a comment here, and I think of Renee. Holy moly. Renee is so sought after in her industry. She's asked to be on panels. She's asked to speak. She was just voted one of the top 50 within the top 50 most influential women. Imagine everything that had to be shedded to dropped for that to happen. The fear that she had to override. Okay, so I want to say one more thing about creation being finished. So one of the things that I believe is that we are all individuations of the one. And then what we see in our and experience in our individual self is really the contents of our mind. That's what we're seeing being expressed before us, the contents of our mind. Oh, okay, sorry, just have to respond to Christina. Christina is a new client, and she was in that small group call that we do in the second month. And she says it was such a powerful call yesterday, already took some action. Oh my goodness, Christina, that is incredible. So stay with me here. And again, this is just, I'm not saying that this is the truth. This is just what I've come to believe, is that we are individuations of the one mind. And then what we're seeing in our life is the contents of our mind, of our individuated mind. But the hidden cause of all things is this consciousness, is consciousness. So what we are witness to in the world is an incessant parade of thoughts becoming things. But here is the part that I really want you to hear. Okay. And it's not because our thoughts create things. Stay with me. It is because we only perceive the things that occupy our consciousness as thought. So let's go to your goal. That goal that you desire, the possibility, the potentiality, it's here. It's always been here. It will always be here. It was here before you became aware that it was here. So your thought didn't create that goal. The goal has been here. You became aware of the existence of it. I just want to let this land. Honestly, it brings tears to my eyes when I feel the impact of this sometimes. It's like it's all here. It's all here. And in that moment, you became aware of it. You saw it. And then when you wrote it down, you claimed it. So, in essence, all things possible of mental visualizing are already in existence. So, all things possible that we can imagine is already in existence. Jen's brand, Hux, which is an amazing name, Hux, is already the premium sought after brand in that space, doing multiple seven figures and beyond. She's on stages sought after all over the world to share her story. She's compared to Sarah Blakely of Spanx in her trajectory, in what she has built. So this is already here. Because we can imagine it. Because in order for us to be able to imagine it, it had to be in the one consciousness. So therefore, there's no such thing as a new thought or a new idea from this standpoint. It is a new thought or a new idea only from the standpoint that it is new to us because we've become aware of it. It is like Anna Isabel is in Australia. Australia always existed, but I became aware of it, perhaps when somebody mentioned it or at school. And as soon as this idea takes root in your consciousness, then you will perceive it in the physical, the material counterpart. But what you want to know is that's the part where it's like, do we have the mindset to maintain the faith, to keep the course during that gestation period? You know, Crystal, who came back, and others, we've got many people that pause and then they come back. And it's one of the reasons that they come back is because they want to fine tune again from where they are now, from this level of awareness. Their thinking, their beliefs. Okay, I'm going to go to the question, but let me just finish this. So, yes, so the part between of you becoming aware of it, and then you've got to make the decision. And that whole part, what we're talking about is perpetual transmutation of energy. So that's what we're talking about. And then there's a gestation period. And much of it, a lot of it is happening in the dark. And that's when we can turn on ourselves. Okay, I'm going to go to the question now. And okay, I've also been, I know there's some questions that have come up about what it is about these rise calls and how they work on a continuous basis. I am not going to talk about that until tomorrow. Tomorrow from 7 to 7:30. If you would like to stay on the call, I'm going to take you through step by step what it is that happens, what it is that we do. If you would like to simply know, and also if you're interested in continuing with us, if you have found that this has been helpful and you want to know more about the program, cameras will still be off, by the way. And so from 7 to 7:30, if you want to block out your calendar, I will share exactly what this program looks like. I had mentioned that call. I'll share exactly what happens, the investment, any bonuses, all of it. If, however, you're like, I want to know now, because I know some people just want to know now, please reach out to Mario on the chat here, and he can just set up a call or answer any questions that you have. We're all here for you. So I just want to let you know that is when I will talk about it. Okay, here is it's Kirsten's question. Kirsten says, "Hi, Hina. You guys have no idea how much I have to open up the font. Not the font, the enlarge the picture. Oh, I have to tell you, I may save this for Monday. I may save it for now, who knows, or say it now, but I had the meeting with the CRA person. That was yesterday. Because I know the reason I said this was because I had talked about this in a call that was a client call. Okay. So Kirsten says, I'm struggling with my goal and keep going back and forth between what is. It started as a revenue target for my business, but it feels safe. I was reflecting on my capacity to receive and to have. And when I look at 10xing the revenue in my business, it's still not close to what I earned in corporate. As a result, it doesn't seem like a stretch, even though I have a long way to go when I look at the revenue I've made year to date. How do I get aligned and inspired by the goal? Part of me knows that it's all going to work out. Sometimes I wonder if I'm using my savings account as a crutch, and that's why the revenue number is meaningless, a different number every day. What I want to do is the work that I love to do and get paid the money that allows me to live the way I want to live. But I keep finding my focus on the A-type goals. I want to go further, faster. Please help. Beautiful. So what I would say, Kirsten, is that if we've got to feel inspired, and if making it a revenue goal is not inspiring you, then let that go. I would say, however, that even though you've received that amount in a different form, you still perhaps don't, it can still be a moonshot goal because you don't know the how in this form. So I would say that. The next thing I would say is that because really, what is it that you desire? You desire to do the work that you love to do. What is the work that you love to do? How many people do you want to impact? So then you can make it not a revenue goal, but how many people you are serving, how many clients you would like to have. And as you're doing this, just from reading what you wrote in your goal, the self-image, the energetics, and this is what we do that would be alongside that, is that, like, this is one of the things that I believe for myself, is that I provide exceptional value and service. And that what I do is worthy of um, high compensation, that what I provide is beyond what anybody could pay me. So even what the investment somebody makes into work with me, whether it's in this program, the Rise, or other programs, even in my one-on-one, I will still provide more in value than I receive in cash. This is how I see myself. This is part of my self-image. So that's what I would say. I would say move it towards what is going to inspire you, Kirsten. And I think it sounds to me like, how many people do you want to serve? How many people do you want to help in the way that you will help them, in the way you specifically will help them? Kirsten says, yes, I like the idea of shifting it away from revenue and towards impact. Yes, it's that desire that feels better. Beautiful. Boom, you've got it. And the revenue will take care of itself. Okay. Okay. Oh, Ashley says, thank you for asking the question. That helped me as well. And let me know if I missed any questions that you would like me to ask. Aaron says, I did this exact shift last year and revenue took off, helping the greater good. Yes, it's whatever you can connect to. And there's no right or wrong. And one doesn't make it, one is not better than the other. If you connect to that revenue, to that number, if that's what lights you up for you in your goal, oh, yes, feel it, imagine it, be it. If it's for you, it's the impact. It's what we're looking for is what is the path of least resistance? What's your access point? And we all have different access points of what we connect to. And it's your journey. So whatever feels right and good for you. We can never get away from ourselves as the center of our own universe. And the sooner we clearly understand this, the better. You are the center of divine operation. You are the universe. When somebody says to you, who do you think you are? God's gift to the universe? You say, yes, thank you for noticing, because that would be accurate. That would be the most truest thing that was ever said. You are God's gift to the universe. There really is no energy in our universe but what emanates from ourselves in the first instance, and the power which appears to reside in our surrounding is derived entirely from our own mind. Choose your own adventure. And this is why I say today, right now, you can change your timeline. I was thinking about this the other day, how certain freaking decisions in my life, sorry, I get worked up, certain decisions in my life, I literally changed my timeline. And we're doing that. We're doing that in the decisions that we make. And some of us are just staying in the predictable same timeline when, gosh, you know, uh, when I met Bob, working with him, working with Steve, when I didn't know the how, like shaking as I was doing these investments, these shifted my timeline dramatically. It moved me out of something that I had been doing for over 10 years, which I didn't know, psychotherapy. My timeline shifted. So we can change it by what we're seeding now.
And when things don't look like they're changing on the outside, we still respond from the future place. So what are we doing? What we're doing is we are first, what you've done is you have first done this psychologically. Oh, Michelle says that brings tears to my eyes, the leap and changing that timeline. Yes, Michelle, this is what we do, and you can do it, and you can do it in a way that is effortless. I love what Neville's taught when he talks about this. He talks about the principle of least action. It governs everything in physics, from the path of a planet to the path of a pulse of light. It is the minimum of energy multiplied by the minimum of time. Yes, I did say divine operation. So how do we move? So I want you all to think about that goal that you desire, that you wrote down. If you haven't yet, just think of something that you really, really want that you don't know how to do. That would just be friggin' so much fun. Okay, so think about that. How we're going to move there is first psychologically. It's always a psychological leap first. So we do that through our imagination. Our imagination is one of our highest faculties. Our imagination is one of the ways that we can connect to the one mind where everything is, all the answers, everything. That's where we're forming it. That's the beginning of the manifestation process once you've made the decision. So we move from the current state of consciousness to that state of consciousness psychologically. We make that leap. And then what we're doing is, because creation is finished and what you desire already exists, the only reason that it is excluded from view is because we can only see the contents of our own consciousness. So we are bringing it to our consciousness. And when we hold the assumption, and the assumption is that it is done, like, so let's just take Jen's as an example, because it's something that I shared. So it's done. Like, I see it so clearly. How can I see this so clearly? I see it so clearly. It is, so to me, like, it is done. So what happens is, so let's say Jen is in this image of her, and she has an image of it, and it is done. Now, when she kind of comes back, we're kind of straddling these two worlds. When she comes back to the 3D and looks around her, and it's like, looks in her calendar and, oh, apparently I'm not being flown to London tomorrow, according to my calendar, right? When you come back to what is, the thing is that you're going to make decisions from the feeling of that future state. So now your physical steps, hear me please, your physical steps are guided by your desire and guided from the feeling of that desire. That's the intuition. And now you get, oh, I'm going to phone that person, or this is going to happen. Then when you look back, like Steve Jobs says, you connect the dots looking back. Then when you look back, what you're going to recognize and put together is the bridge of incidents, as Neville talks about it, the bridge of incidents, all those incidents that happened. And what I love about Jen so much is that she had shared this in our client community. Do you know that she wrote, before we had met, Jen is a new client, that, well, like a month or so in, or 2 months in, that I can't remember when you wrote it, but maybe months ago, that she was looking for a mentor that did this kind of work, that taught in this way. And she had it on a post-it note. I was always here. And then she became aware of me. She didn't know of me before. A year and a half ago, she wrote it. Okay, Now, there was a question. There's a few questions that have come in. So let me go to the question so I can be fully of service to you. Um, okay, so there's this one that came in. This person wants to be anonymous. She says, "Hi, Hina, I'm really shy, so I'm sending this message to you directly." Um, yes, I can keep you anonymous. In the current chapter of my journey, I find myself at a crossroads of introspection and discovery. Previously on a trajectory marred by burnout and strains on my relationship, I embark on the path of entrepreneurship to rediscover purpose. However, the pull of security led me back to a high level job that, though stable, lacks the spark of inspiration. Oh. Reflecting on my aspirations, I'm confronted by a sense of uncertainty regarding my true calling. While my heart yearns to cultivate my business further, there lingers a shadow of doubt that its ability to sustain me in the long run. I used to feel confident, and this is the first time in my life that I feel so unsure and insecure. How do I come out of what I feel is this energy block? Thank you for the beautiful question. And I know that many people on this call can relate to it. And I know that there have been many people on this call that are actually where you are right now and are on the other side of it too. So, what happens sometimes is we will put it we will mm, we will create confusion for ourselves, like, oh, I don't know what to do, or I feel stuck. These sorts of things we will create for ourselves, um, when in all honesty, we actually do know. But what it is, it's more of the fear of really looking at it. Your answer is in the question here. So there's a desire that you have, and there is doubt about the desire. And there is a feeling that your security comes from your job. And because of that, that's where you were led back to a high level job. And that high level job also would make sense to society and those around you. Like, um, there are many people that you could have a conversation with today that would speak to the part of you that took that job and is staying in that job and say, of course, like you would never leave that kind of job. Look at how good it is. It is a high level job. So here's what I would say to you. Again, this is that you've got to understand that this is perfect for what we've been talking about. And if you didn't hear yesterday's call, please listen to it. You're making the job the essential and you're the incidental. You want to be the essential and understand what is your point of support. Your point of support is within you, it's not outside of you. But right now you have it mixed up, and that is okay. There's no, when I say this and when I get louder, it's not because I'm judging. It's just because I'm passionate. It is absolutely okay. We have all been there. So what I would say to you is that if you still have this desire for your business and you still want to do it and you're honest with yourself and you still want to do it, what I would do now is while you are in this position of this high level job that you speak of, I would work on my self image, because to bring yourself to bring yourself up to the place, to bring your consciousness up in a place that feels safe to you. Okay, you're actually in such a great position. Bring your consciousness up, and then the external will change. Bring your awareness up. Understand where your security truly comes from. It doesn't have to be this or that or when then. It doesn't have to be that I'm going to work on my business when I quit my job. Can you do 15 minutes a day? 15 minutes a day. You've come on this call. When you come on the calls on Monday, you'll notice that we have 10 minutes for writing and reflection. Could you, in 10 minutes, give me 10 minutes a day, work on your business, and then go to your high level job? Burnout, the burnout and stress also comes from confusion and chaos in our mind and all of these energetic leaks and not being honest with ourselves. So this is where I would start. I hope that helps. I'm just going to see if the person replies. So just let me know if that has helped or if you have any follow-up questions. Okay. Now there was another question that came up too. Okay. Okay. I've got a question in regards to action. Taking inspired action is the way to go, and having a plan helps to stay focused and on track. What was happening in the past was that I've gotten so many different ideas that I got fired up, and I couldn't stay with it long enough to see any impact. Mm. I love coaching and talking to people, but getting to that point was a struggle. Taking those actions that came as inspired ideas weren't connected with fun or joy after I started acting on them. So calibrating with my goal and seeing myself is working to get ideas, but then it stops. It gets messy and I do not move forward. Can you help with this? Yes, I can help with that. So that has to do with your self-image. And this is why if we're not adjusting our set points along the way, we're going to always fall back to our dominant beliefs. We're always going to fall back to our habits. And the set point that you have built, the habit that you have built is that you get fired up and you start. And then you have created a belief that now it is not fun. And so you abandon it. And we know that because it is a pattern. So that's the set point. So this is all happening unconsciously. Again, no judgment, just passion that comes from me when I get loud. So we've got to adjust your thermostat setting, because unconsciously, when it gets to certain kinds of actions that don't feel fun, you drop off. You take your foot off the gas. And then you make up excuses. So I want to tell you, I have been here. And this is why the top 1% is only 1%, because we can get through this. And so can you. This is why you feel it different. For those of you that were on yesterday's call and now you're on today's call, you're on tomorrow's call, think of the compound effect. You feel the difference of being in this energy. How you have to raise your self-image is you've got to raise your standards for yourself. So I made it part of my self-image that I did things that needed to be done because I'm so locked into my goal. And a little hiccup, a little bit of it being inconvenient. Remember, when you're committed to something, you do what it takes. When you're interested, you do what's convenient. So I will do the inconvenient because of my commitment to my goal. But I built a self-image, and this is what I want you to do. I built a self-image that I'm someone that does those things. So I actually love it then. I become proud of it. Like, yeah, like on my team, one of the things we say, and this is what you're going to notice of my team, because people that aren't a fit to this, they drop off. Every job is a noble job. And if there is something to be done, I am rolling up my sleeves to do it. That is part of my self-image. So that's what you want to do. You want to describe the person that does not stop at that point. And then you're applying the action, but you're applying the action from the energetics of the goal. Okay, a reminder, and then I'm gonna say a few more things. A reminder, tomorrow, we have an additional 30 minutes. So at around this time tomorrow, and clients, you're welcome to stay on as well. Don't feel that you have to hop off if you don't want to. You're more than welcome to stay on. I'm going to share exactly what happens on these calls ongoing, what happens and what your journey is with us. We've done case studies and really looked at what is it that creates transformation. And we've really got it down to a science now. So if changing your timeline is something that interests you, um, please join me. And again, cameras will still be off. Today is the leadership call for those of you in the leadership program. It's you're starting, and it's an exceptional program. And do I have any other announcements for our group, for our clients? We revealed the retreat to clients, and you can find out more in the recording if you were not at the retreat reveal. Okay. Let me go on now. Nicole says it's interesting. My goal that I wrote yesterday was what I feel, but it wasn't anything tangible, so I don't have fear around it. I just don't know how it's going to happen. I also find that I don't like picking something so specific in fear of boxing myself in, but that keeps me from walking towards anything. It makes sense now. Yes, and so Nicole, as you're creating the goal that you desire, that is more specific, and you're claiming that, um, we want to again create the version of you that is not afraid of that. So think about it, Nicole, if you and I were going to a coffee shop and I ordered a cappuccino and I asked you, I said, Nicole, what is it that you want? And you were like, I would love a hot beverage. I would ask you to be more specific. And you may say, I would love tea. I would ask you to be more specific. I cannot give you what you want, Nicole, if you are not going to be specific. That's what the universe is saying to you. The universe is saying to you, Nicole, I want to give you exactly what you want. And I'm saying yes to everything. Yes to everything. So this is the benefit, Nicole, of getting specific. So you can have and receive exactly what you want. Not the tea that you didn't want, but you'll put up with because it is what it is. But exactly what you want. Michelle says, my goal is to bring 75K a month into my life, paying all debt off and to be serving at a higher and higher level. How do I make decisions from that feeling and consciousness when I'm not in that financial place based on my current bank statements? So, okay, I have been there. You've got to ask yourself, are you making the decision? So you still want to make decisions from your future self. What could you do now that's a reflection of that? Now, what I want you to do, Michelle, is your goal is to bring 75K a month into your life. And I would say, um, that it's not even paying all your debt off. Like I wouldn't make that a priority. That's going to happen. Like you could say something like, I'm so happy and grateful now that I easily generate $75,000 a month. I meet all of my responsibilities and 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 more. And the reason that I say that is because we don't want to get into this habit of I pay debt off and then I build. Like if that's not what you want. And the other thing is it's looking at debt. It's understanding what debt is. There are millionaires, billionaires that leverage money, that leverage using it. It is a choice to put to pay for something over time. It can be a choice to pay it off later. And so what you want to ask yourself is this an investment or is this spending? This is something Neville talks about even in thoughts. Are my thoughts an investment, or am I spending my thoughts, when he refers to it as the coin of heaven? So you would still make those decisions, but you're making it from a different place. Oh, thank you, Joe. That is a high compliment. I receive it. Joe says you reminded me of Abraham, Hicks, and Louise. Hey, awesome. Love your energy. Oh, Sophie, I love you. Sophie says, I already know I need to hit replay. Everything shared today is so good. Okay. Michelle says, thank you. This makes sense and aligns. Yes, Mario is a genius. This is his, I would say one of his zones of genius is helping you get clarity and get your goal on paper. And so his suggestion here is, he says, in writing your goals, do not put any words in there that refer to any lack and scarcity. All right. Well, thank you all. Um, Please let me know. We're going to be here tomorrow. Is this a yes, yes, yes? Will I see you tomorrow? Yay, beautiful. Love you all. Thank you. Have the most incredible day. Create the day that you desire to have. Remain the essential, and we'll see you here tomorrow. Bye for now.